In this section, we'll be graphing equations based on their slope-intercept form. I have the general equation written there, y equals mx plus b. When it's in this form, it gives us two pieces of information, the slope and the y-intercept. When we're graphing, we'll begin by graphing the y-intercept. That's the point that's on the y-axis for our graph. Then from there, we'll use the slope to find the second point, and then draw a nice straight line through those for our graph. Let's look at a few examples. Let's begin with the equation I've got written over on the right. Let's start with y equals 2/3 x plus 4. We have a slope of 2/3 and a y-intercept of positive 4. As I mentioned before, we're going to start with the y-intercept. So here's my y-axis, that's the one that's vertical going up or down. Since it's positive 4, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and put a point right there on the y-axis. I know my graph goes through that point because of that information from the equation. I also know that my slope is 2/3. So I'm going to begin at this point that I just made. Since it's positive 2/3, I'm going to go up 2. Remember, rise over run. So rise 2 and run 3 for my second point. I could do that again if I'd like. Rise 2, run 3. And you'll notice those all go in a nice straight line. You'd want to use your ID or a ruler to make that a nice straight line. And that's all you have to do. Let's look at a second one. Let's say our equation is y equals negative 1/4 x plus 5. Again, you really get two pieces of information, the slope and the y-intercept. We'll begin by graphing the y-intercept. Again, on our y-axis, it's positive 5, so I'm going to go up 5. My slope is negative 1/4, which tells me it's going to be going downhill, so I'm going to go down 1 and then run 4. Down 1 over 4. And there's my nice straight line. Let's try one more. How about the equation y equals 5x minus 3? Again, we've got information. Slope is 5. Y-intercept is negative 3. So we'll begin with our negative 3. Again, this one is a negative y-intercept, so I want to go down here to negative 3 on my y-axis. We always refer to slope as rise over run. In this case, we just have a 5, but we should remember that 5 is the same as 5 over 1. So as we do our slope, it's a positive slope, so I'm going to go up 5 and over 1. Up 5, over 1. And that should make a nice straight line. How about this one? What if I have y equals negative 1/2 x? Got a slope of negative 1/2. Where's my y-intercept? This one looks a little different, but if there's nothing out here, wouldn't that be the same as plus 0? So we'll start our y-intercept is actually at 0, right there at the origin. And again then, as you're doing your slope, it's a negative 1/2, so I'm going to go down 1, over 2, down 1, over 2, and there's my line. We also want to be able to do the opposite of what we've just been doing. We want to be able to write the equation if we're given a graph. So I'm going to write my general equation over here. And then we're going to look at this graph and see if we can figure out what the equation would be. Okay, let me highlight a few of the points here so they're nice and easy to see. There's one. There's one. We don't really need this last one, but I'll put it up there just in case. Okay, so we're writing the equation, which means we need to fill in those same two pieces of information that have been given to us when we were graphing. We have to fill in the slope, and we have to fill in the y-intercept. Probably the easiest thing to fill in is the y-intercept. We started at positive 2. That's our y-intercept. It's on the y-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and put a plus 2 down here at the end. Then I want to figure out how did I go, again, left to right, to this next point. Looks like I went up 3 over 2, so that would be 3 over 2x. So our equation is y equals 3 over 2x plus 2. Let's look at another example. Let's say we have this graph right here. Again, let me highlight a few of those points so that they're easy to see. We've got a point here, and in case we need it, we do have a third point down there. Okay, so we have to fill in our slope and our y-intercept. Again, I think it's easiest to start with the y-intercept. It looks like our y-intercept is just down 1 from the origin, so I'm going to put minus 1 over there for my y-intercept. It's going downhill, so I know it's going to have a negative slope. So I go down 1 over 3, so that should be negative 1/3 x. One of the most common mistakes is leaving out that x, so make sure that you put your variable back in there so that your equation is perfectly correct.